The 1950s were a time of items that became the familiar rhythm of every household, from the flickering black and white TV and the distinctive sound of the rotary dial phone to the squeaky Wringer washing machine every morning. They were once the backbone of daily life, woven into the memories of an entire generation. Join us as we explore 30 items from the 1950s that were once essential, but are now completely obsolete. Remember how you kept the whole house warm when central heating was still a luxury? In the 1950s, especially in the American Northeast, the coal furnace was the heart of every home. Though it had been around since the late 19th century, it was still very common. These furnaces provided warmth throughout the house via a system of ducts, operating on natural convection without needing electricity or fans. They were an indispensable tool for surviving the cold winters. Many seniors still remember the sound of a shovel scooping coal, the dusty smell in the basement, or their parents heading down in the middle of the night to keep the fire from going out. The furnace was nicknamed the octopus furnace because its ducts reached out like tentacles throughout the house. The feeling of stepping into a warm living room on a frigid winter night is unforgettable, even if kids were often warned to stay away from the furnace because it was dangerous. But keeping the fire going was a dirty, labor-intensive hassle. When more convenient and safer gas and oil furnaces emerged in the late 1950s, coal furnaces quickly gave way. Today, they are found only in historic homes or museums, a symbol of an era of toiling hands but warm hearts. Today, we have Spotify and podcasts, but back in the 1950s, the elegant wood-cased vacuum tube radio was the king of the airwaves in every home, serving as the center of entertainment and culture.
Like we thought, you go like, I can handle my money, I don't need anybody.
Before the transistor era, a vacuum tube radio, with its polished wood or bakelite plastic casing, was an electronic device that was not just for listening, but also for admiring. It brought the entire world into a single box, from news and radio dramas to swing, jazz, and the first rock and roll hits. Do you remember evenings when the whole family would gather around the radio, watching the warm orange glow of the vacuum tubes and listening to the rich, full-bodied sound? Kids would lie on the rug listening to the Lone Ranger while their parents tuned in for important news updates. These radios were heavy, got hot, broke easily, and used a lot of electricity. They were replaced by compact, durable, battery-powered transistor radios in the early 1960s. Now, they are collector's items, evoking an era when music and radio stories were the beacons that lit up daily life. Imagine a blinding flash that made everyone blink, followed by the faint smell of burnt glass. That's how you took those treasured family photos in the 1950s. If you wanted to take pictures indoors or at night in the 1950s, you had to use disposable flash bulbs, a major revolution in consumer photography. Each bulb was good for only one shot, but it helped preserve countless moments from birthdays, Christmases, and family gatherings in low light. Can you still recall how the bright flash made everyone squint, followed by that distinctive, slightly burnt smell of the used glass bulb? The resulting photos might look dated now, but they are filled with emotion and are precious family heirlooms. By the 1970s, reusable electronic flashes, which were more convenient and economical, took over. The later digital age made single-use flashbulbs disappear entirely, leaving them as nostalgic mementos of the early days of family photography. That cheerful crack sound as you turn the handle, creating cool, crushed ice for a summer cocktail or dessert. That was the familiar sound of a 1950s party. Before refrigerators had automatic ice makers, a manual ice crusher was an essential tool for any family get-together in the 1950s. This compact device had a tray for ice cubes and a hand crank that ground the ice into small chips, perfect for drinks and chilling food. Anyone who grew up in the 50s surely remembers the cold touch of freshly crushed ice and the wonderful taste of a homemade soda or cocktail. Refrigerators with built-in ice crushers and automatic ice makers have completely replaced this tool, offering far superior convenience. Today, the manual ice crusher is just a retro item or a tool for vintage enthusiasts, reminding us of a simpler, fun-filled time. The clinking sound of glass milk bottles on a small truck, the thick layer of cream that rose to the top of the bottle, and the sight of fresh milk bottles lined up on the doorstep each morning, these are cherished memories for so many generations. Milk delivery service was as common as the paperboy in the 1950s, providing a convenient way for families to have fresh milk every morning. The milk came in glass bottles. The milkman would drop off new ones and pick up the empty bottles for reuse, ensuring a continuous supply of fresh, clean milk for every household. Do you remember the kids being the first ones to run out onto the porch to grab the milk, or the excitement of getting to taste the rich cream at the top of the bottle? It was a warm and bonding morning ritual for the family. As home refrigerators and supermarkets became widespread, people switched to buying milk and storing it themselves. By the end of the 20th century, the milkman profession all but vanished, though it's seeing a small comeback today with some organic delivery services as a nostalgic touch. Before the age of instant messaging, a short, concise message delivered by telegram could carry news of great joy or deep sorrow because every single word counted. The telegram was the most important method for urgent communication in the 1950s, almost synonymous with major news. Telegrams were drafted at a post office, transmitted via Morse code, and delivered directly to the recipient, making them the only formal way to convey urgent information. Can you imagine the family's suspense when the delivery person knocked on the door with a telegram envelope? That knock could mean happy news of a wedding or a new job, or sad news from afar, creating a sense of both urgency and gravity. As telephones became common, followed by fax machines and email, the telegram became obsolete. Western Union discontinued its telegram service in the U.S. in 2006, marking the end of an era. But the memory of the urgent wire remains a significant part of communication history. Today, we have automatic washers that start with the push of a button. But do you remember the whirring Wringer washing machine, which was a huge leap forward from hand washing in the 1950s? In the 1950s, the Wringer washing machine was an essential appliance for many families, especially those with lots of kids, even though it still required a lot of manual labor. The machine had a tub for soapy water and a wringer with 2 rubber rollers that squeezed water out of the clothes after washing, saving considerable effort compared to wringing by hand. The whirring sound of the wringer, the foamy white soap, and the suspense of watching your mom feed each piece of clothing through the rollers. These are familiar scenes from laundry days that could take up half the day. Anyone who used one surely remembers being careful not to get their fingers caught. Fully automatic washing machines became common and affordable in the 1960s, offering much more convenience and safety. The Wringer washer quickly became a thing of the past, now found only in museums or vintage collections. In a 1950s office, the clacking sound of dozens of typewriters created a distinctive soundtrack, where every clack was a character and every ding was a new line. Before office computers, the typewriter was the most important tool for secretaries, journalists, and office workers, helping create neat, legible documents. It completely replaced handwriting for important papers, bringing professionalism and standardization to official documents. Do you remember the smell of ink from the ribbon and the stress of having to fix a mistake with no backspace key like we have now? Every keystroke made a clack, and at the end of a line, a ding would sound, signaling it was time to push the carriage return lever for a new line. Personal computers and word processing software in the 1980s made the typewriter obsolete. However, it remains a symbol of a time of manual office work, leaving a powerful mark on the history of writing and printing. Mechanical pencils still exist today, but did you know they were once a small symbol of modernity and professionalism for students and office workers in the 1950s? Mechanical pencils have been around since the 19th century, but they became a common household item in the 1950s, offering more convenience than traditional wood pencils. With a metal or plastic body and a click or twist mechanism, users could simply replace the lead instead of sharpening it, saving time and keeping things clean. Students loved showing off their new mechanical pencils, while office workers enjoyed the smooth and professional writing experience they provided. It was a small item with a big appeal for many people. When ballpoint pens became cheaper and more convenient, the mechanical pencil lost its top spot. Even so, it has survived among designers, engineers, and retro writing enthusiasts as a symbol of sophistication. That crisp cha-ching sound every time the cash register drawer closed, popping open with its signature noise, that was the music of mid-20th century commerce. The mechanical cash register was the soul of retail stores in the 1950s, where every transaction was completed with that characteristic sound. With a heavy metal body, rows of mechanical keys, and internal gears, the machine helped calculate totals accurately and record transactions, making it an indispensable tool for shops of that era. Do you remember the cha-ching sound when you bought something at the corner store or a small shop? The thin paper receipts and the excitement of getting your items were all part of the old-school shopping experience. Electronic calculators and later modern POS systems, with their superior accuracy and speed, completely replaced mechanical registers. Now, they have become antique display pieces, symbolizing a nostalgic era of manual retail. If we missed something iconic from the 50s, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your memories. The image of a man straightening his tie, dropping a few coins into a machine for a pack of Marlboros or Lucky Strikes, and then lighting up right on the spot was a common sight all across America in the 50s. In the 1950s, you could easily buy cigarettes from a vending machine located in a bar, restaurant, or even a movie theater. These machines had a sturdy metal body. All you had to do was insert coins and pull a lever, and a pack of cigarettes would drop down, meeting the demand for quick and convenient consumption. For many young people back then, the cigarette vending machine was also a symbolic gateway to adulthood, a cultural fixture that's hard to imagine today. Growing awareness of the harms of smoking and laws banning sales to minors caused these machines to disappear by the end of the 20th century. Today, they are controversial artifacts, reminders of a time when smoking was style. Do you remember gathering with friends, opening up a small suitcase, and letting Elvis, Buddy Holly, or Little Richard blast from a portable record player? Along with record changers, the portable record player was a musical icon for the youth of the 1950s, bringing music anywhere, anytime. Designed like a small suitcase with a built-in speaker, it was easy to carry around, allowing teenagers to enjoy their favorite music with privacy and freedom. This was the start of teen music at home, where the first hits of rock and roll spread, creating unforgettable memories of a vibrant youth. Cassette players, CDs, and digital music later took over, but the portable record player is now making a comeback thanks to the retro wave, being remanufactured for vinyl lovers and nostalgia seekers.
Yoo-hoo! Iceman! Iceman!
A knock at the door and a call of "Iceman." The drip of water from the pan underneath the icebox, and waiting on a hot summer day for a small chip of ice to suck on, these are sweet childhood memories. Before electric refrigerators became standard, families in the 1950s relied on ice delivery and insulated ice boxes to preserve their food. The icebox was made of wood or metal with an insulating layer, and the Iceman would deliver a large block of ice right to the house to keep milk, meat, and vegetables cold. Can you imagine how important it was to have a big block of ice in your icebox during the scorching summer days? It not only kept food fresh, but was also a source of joy for the kids. The spread of electric refrigerators in the 1950s brought the era of the Iceman to an end. Ice delivery disappeared, and the icebox became a nostalgic item often displayed in museums of American family culture. The whirring sound of blades mixed with the smell of fresh-cut grass on a Saturday morning, the sight of a father pushing a mower across a lush green lawn, that was a familiar ritual of American suburbia in the 50s. The suburban boom after World War II made the manual reel mower a common tool in every family's garage. Though invented in 1830, they remained popular into the 1950s. They were powered entirely by pushing and were neat, quiet, and environmentally friendly. Do you remember those weekend mornings when the whole family would watch the lawn get neatly trimmed and the kids would play on the fresh green grass? It was a simple but meaningful image of family life. Faster and more convenient gas-powered mowers appeared in the mid-century, pushing the manual mower to a secondary choice. However, they are still favored today by those who pursue a green and quiet lifestyle. The flickering light from a black and white TV illuminating the faces of the whole family, the clicking sound of the channel knob, and someone saying, "Hold it right there, the picture's clear." These are unforgettable memories from the dawn of television. In the 1950s, the black and white TV was the centerpiece of every American living room, the decade when television truly entered daily life. These CRT sets with their small screens, wood cabinets, and rabbit ears antennas were enough to gather the whole family every evening to enjoy entertainment shows and the news. Do you remember the thrill of watching the evening news or laughing out loud at sitcoms like I Love Lucy? The kids often had to be the ones to adjust the antenna until the picture was clear, a job that required patience and teamwork from the whole family. Color TV appeared in the late 1950s and quickly became widespread in the 1960s. Black and white TVs gradually disappeared, but they left behind a huge legacy. They ushered in the television age, the foundation of modern entertainment culture. The ring-ring of the telephone bell, the feeling of sticking your finger in a number hole and pulling the dial to the stop, then hearing the click-click as it spun back. That was the ritual of making a phone call in the 1950s. In the 1950s, the rotary dial phone was the standard for communication at home and in the office, replacing the need to have an operator connect most calls. These phones, made of bakelite or metal, featured a circular dial with numbered holes. Each series of clicks transmitted a signal to the switchboard to connect the call, making it the only way to talk to someone from a distance. Do you remember the thick phone book on the table, or how the whole family had to share a single party line? The telephone back then wasn't just a tool. It was a social hub within the family, a bridge to the outside world. Push-button phones, introduced in the 1960s, made the slow rotary dial obsolete. Then cell phones wiped them out completely. Today, the rotary phone is making a comeback in retro designs and as a collector's item. Those evenings with the lights off, listening to the whir of the projector, and watching slightly jerky, grainy images on the wall, that's how we preserved our most vivid family memories. 8mm film was a leap from still photos to moving pictures in the family life of the 1950s, allowing people to shoot their own movies at home for the first time. The compact cameras used Kodak's 8mm film rolls, with each roll capturing 4 to 5 minutes of footage. The film was then developed and shown using a projector. Do you remember the excitement of rewatching footage of kids running around, a vacation at the beach, or your mom's birthday? These were precious moments, much more alive than still photographs. VHS camcorders in the 1980s, followed by digital video, made 8mm disappear. But for anyone who ever held one of those small cameras, 8mm will forever be a vivid memory of childhood, a symbol of innovation in capturing life's moments. A romantic date in the car. The speakers sound a bit tinny but good enough to hear. Kids in the back seat munching on popcorn. It was the Netflix and chill of the last century. The drive-in theater was an icon of American entertainment in the 1950s, and the paper speaker that hung on your car window was an inseparable part of the experience. These small speakers were attached to a wire and hung over the car's window, transmitting the movie's audio directly into the vehicle instead of broadcasting it across the lot, offering privacy and convenience. Do you remember the feeling of pulling the speaker from the post in the parking spot, hooking it onto your window, and waiting for the movie to begin? It's a unique memory of outdoor entertainment from the 50s. Starting in the 1970s, FM broadcast systems allowed you to hear the movie's audio directly through your car radio, which was clearer and more convenient. The paper speakers became collector's items for those who loved the golden age of drive-ins, a symbol of old-fashioned romance. The scene of a summer drive, twisting open that small triangular window to let the wind whip against your face, your hair blowing in the breeze, that was the natural air conditioning for drivers in the 1950s. Before air conditioning became common, the small triangular wing vent in cars was a clever solution for creating a cool breeze inside the cabin. The wing vent was a small triangular piece of glass located just in front of the main window. The driver could pivot it on a hinge to direct outside air right into the car, cooling the space naturally. Do you remember on road trips how kids loved to stick their hands out through the vent to feel the cool stream of air? It was a practical and elegant design that brought a sense of freedom and comfort to every journey. As car air conditioning became widespread in the 1960s and 70s, the wing vent gradually disappeared. Today, it's only found on classic cars, a reminder of the simple yet effective designs of a bygone era. Today we have Google Maps in our pockets, but in the 1950s, a thick street directory book was the indispensable paper GPS for every driver. Before the era of GPS and smartphone maps, street directories were a crucial tool for navigation and finding your way around cities. These thick books contain detailed maps along with an index of streets, addresses, and landmarks, often published by major companies like Rand McNally. Do you remember seeing delivery drivers, tourists, or families on a weekend drive flipping through the pages, marking their route with a pencil? Some people kept a directory in their glove compartment as an essential item, a trusted companion on every journey. GPS and then smartphones have completely replaced them. Street directories have become vintage artifacts, sometimes used as historical documents to study urban change. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next videos from the No Longer Here channel. Owning a set of hardcover encyclopedias wasn't just about having a treasure trove of knowledge. It was also a status symbol for middle-class families in the 1950s, a point of pride on the bookshelf. In the 1950s, massive sets of hardcover encyclopedias were the main source of knowledge for homes and schools. A set could include dozens of volumes, hardbound, containing thousands of in-depth articles from major publishers like Britannica or World Book, providing reliable information on every subject imaginable. Do you remember students looking up information for their homework, parents referencing facts, or guests being impressed by the massive set of books on the shelf? It was a gateway to the world of knowledge for the entire family. The internet, Wikipedia, and online databases have made these heavy volumes a thing of the past. Now, they exist as decorative items or academic memorabilia, reminders of a time when knowledge was bound within the pages of a book. A data entry room filled with the noisy clack-clack of key punch machines, long rows of IBM machines, and operators working for hours on end to input each data set. That was the signature sound of the early computing era. In the dawn of the computer age, the key punch machine was the standard data entry tool in offices and government agencies in the 1950s. The machine had a keyboard, and each keystroke punched a hole in a paper card, encoding the data. Thick stacks of these cards were then fed into a mainframe computer for processing. Can you imagine the meticulous patience required to enter every bit of data by punching holes in a paper card? One small mistake could ruin an entire critical data set. When modern computers with electronic keyboards came along, paper punch cards disappeared. Now, the key punch machine is a symbol of the early era of computing, a testament to the evolution of information technology. The familiar smell of pencil and rubber erasers in an office, engineering students practicing their drafting late into the night, architects carrying rolled-up blueprints under their arms. These images capture the meticulous skill of a previous generation. Before modern CAD software, every architectural and engineering drawing in the 1950s was done by hand with rulers and compasses. T-squares, set squares, compasses, mechanical pencils, and large drafting tables were essential tools for measuring, aligning, and manually drawing every detail with precision on vellum paper. Can you imagine the incredible effort it took to create a perfect drawing using only your hands? Every line and every detail held the sweat and dedication of a technical artist. CAD and 3D software have completely replaced these tools. However, manual drafting tools still evoke the meticulous craftsmanship of past generations of engineers and architects, serving as a symbol of a lost art. The constant hissing sound, hot steam escaping from the valve, and shelves lined with jars of pickled cucumbers, green beans, and peaches and syrup. This was the stockpile that would get families through the cold season in the 1950s. Before supermarkets took over, many American families in the 1950s still relied on pressure cookers to can their own food for the winter. These heavy aluminum or steel pots had lids with steam vents that were used to sterilize glass jars of vegetables and meat under high pressure for long-term preservation. Do you remember those bustling canning sessions in the kitchen, or the sense of security that came from seeing shelves full of preserved food stocked away for the cold winter? It was a crucial part of a self-sufficient lifestyle. When home freezers and cheap, convenient industrial canned goods became available, home canning declined sharply. Modern pressure cookers still exist, but their purpose has changed. They're for cooking fast, not for survival, reminding us of a time when preparation was key.
Percolators have three basic parts: a vessel for holding water to be heated,
The perk sound of bubbling water, the rich aroma of coffee filling the kitchen in the early morning, that was a daily ritual that many seniors still remember from the 1950s. Before drip coffee makers became popular, the percolator was the standard in every American kitchen in the 1950s. The pot consisted of a water chamber and a metal tube that drew hot water up through the coffee grounds and let it drip back down, a process that repeated over and over to create a strong brew. Do you remember the strong, slightly scorched taste characteristic of percolator coffee? It was the flavor of a new day starting, of stories told over a warm cup of coffee. Cleaner and more convenient drip coffee makers took over starting in the 1970s. However, some people still prefer the bold flavor of percolator coffee as an unforgettable touch of nostalgia.
compared to the shadows, and the range of brightness values we get on the paper is compressed.
Countless teenage photography enthusiasts spent hours in a pitch-black room with a red safe light, inhaling the smell of developing chemicals, anxiously watching an image slowly appear on photographic paper. It was a whole artistic world in the 1950s. When film photography was popular, many families in the 1950s set up small darkrooms in their basements or a spare room to develop their own photos. A darkroom had a safe light, chemical trays, an enlarger, and a line for hanging photos, allowing the photographer to have complete control over the creative process of making their own artistic prints. Do you remember the magical feeling of watching a black and white image slowly emerge on a sheet of photo paper dipped in chemicals? It was an experience that was both scientific and artistic, bringing a great sense of pride to the person doing it. Digital cameras and inkjet printers killed the home darkroom. Today, they are maintained only by artists or analog film hobbyists as a sophisticated and passionate form of manual art.
And a changer for standard 10 and 12-inch 78 RPM records for your present.
A lively dinner party with non-stop swing music or Elvis Presley, no need to manually change the record, and the satisfying clack as a new disc dropped down, bringing continuous excitement. In the 1950s, home music was synonymous with the record player that had an automatic record-changing feature, a surprisingly convenient technology. The machine allowed you to stack multiple records on a spindle. When one record finished playing, the next one would drop onto the turntable and the tone arm would automatically place itself, creating a continuous listening experience. Do you remember the satisfying sight of watching the records drop one by one and start playing? It was the ultimate convenience of the golden age of vinyl, allowing everyone to fully enjoy the musical atmosphere. When stereo systems and CDs appeared, the need for continuous record changing vanished. However, record changers are still collected as a symbol of the golden age of vinyl, a landmark in the evolution of audio technology. Those evenings with all the lights out, the whole family gathered to watch vacation photos on the wall, or students excited when the teacher brought a slide projector to class. That was the big screen of the pre-digital era. In the 1950s, the slide projector became a familiar device in homes and classrooms, offering a collective viewing experience before the age of color TV. It was a rectangular box containing a light bulb and a lens used to project small film slides, usually 35 millimeter, onto a wall or screen to enlarge the image. Do you remember the click sound each time a new image appeared on the screen, bringing with it stories of vacations, weddings, or interesting lectures? It was how people shared memories and learned visually in an intimate, personal way. Digital projectors and presentation software like PowerPoint have completely replaced them. Although no longer seen in modern life, the slide projector is still remembered as a nostalgic symbol of years of family gatherings and visual education. After exploring these 30 items, which one left the biggest impression on you? And what item from the 60s or 70s would you like to see us feature in our next video? Comment below, and we'll make it happen. If this video brought back at least one memory for you, please hit like, sub, and ring the bell to continue joining us on this journey back in time. In our next episode, we'll explore fascinating things from the 1960s.